what I enjoy doing is, and we talk about the game, and to me, the game is the game of. Uh, I kind of think of it as kind of this cosmic escape room. So you think of like, if you're in an escape room, it's like you find clues and then you find your way out. And our cosmic escape room is, we think we're this thinking mind in this meat suit. And so, okay, well, how do we get out of that? And there's all these interesting clues. Eastern philosophy has left us, neuroscience has left us some. And when you put them all together, you realize, you've never been in the escape room. You've always been outside looking in.
Yeah.
Like really digging the show, and that encompasses the whole show, the happiness and the suffering.
Yes. It seems daunting, right? To have that idea to people that have no clue what we're talking about right now. It seems like a daunting thing to be like, what do you mean I'm not my body? It just seems scary, right? But it's actually the opposite. It's actually salvation in a way. It's almost like, oh, I feel thankful that I'm not just this
Yeah,
suffering meat suit. I'm more than that,
it's about like the image of like someone going through the airport and they're carrying all this luggage, and it's just this really burdensome kind of thing. And then you realize that the luggage is, so you put it down. It's not me.
Yeah.
And you feel like this huge relief, because what a terrifying thought that I am this meat suit. I mean, to me, that's just, I mean, no wonder people have anxiety. No wonder people worry, and no wonder that, the real plague of modern humans is anxiety and depression. And of course, I mean, that's the natural consequence. If you think this is who you are, and I think I'm this meat suit, and I think of my job, and then I get fired. Well, who am I?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
get sick. And it's like, okay, well, who am I after I get sick? It's all very temporary. The thinking mind lives in a really temporary, well, it lives in time, and as soon as you live in time, then everything has, a beginning and an end.
Wow, that's good. That's a good one. Once you
And
live in time, everything has a beginning and an end. But once you step outside of time, there is no end.
there's no beginning.
And there's no beginning. Wow. Yeah. That's
And
great.
that's the putting down the luggage, and that's the kind of like, man, you
Mm,
know, and to me, that's the kind of way it can become really entertaining when you see this as a game.
yeah.
So when I look back at all the times that I was terribly anxious, I can't help but to sort of laugh at that. Because that was the game. I was,
Yeah.
I was playing the game at a really interesting level. And Alan Watts pointed out one time, he said, and this is back in the 60s when he was talking about, we have some people out there, real squares, and they're business types, and he's like, they're playing a fantastic version of the game, because they're being exactly who they're not.
Yeah. Hmm.
We are this timeless process playing that were these limited meat suits and thinking minds.
Yep.
And that's a fantastic game when you get into it.
Yeah. It's the game of Brahman and Atman. We've
Yeah.
known about this for thousands of years, and we're just using different terminology now.
And that's exactly it. It's a lot of different, and shamans, you go back to the shamans, human beings have known this. And to me, the fascinating thing is that when you look historically, when we started thinking, which is about 40 to 70,000 years ago, that just happens to be the time when shamans started popping up on the globe.
Hmm.
In other words, when we first started thinking is when we counterbalanced it with spirituality,
Mm,
And
mm.
so even though we got into this kind of cosmic kind of escape room, we at the very same time had a couple very special people who were kind of like, if you've ever been in one of these escape rooms, if you pound on the wall, there's some dude out there that give you a hint.
Mm, mhm,
And in the same way, there are people who will give you hints through the,
mm.
and I think the shamans have done that, and a lot of the Vedantas and the Buddhists, and they're all out there giving us
Yeah.
kind of crumbs.
Some people even say, there's parallels with that in Western philosophy as well, like Christianity. Like you can take it at face value of the whole story of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ, and the actual face value of the story of it. But people also say that there's mysticism behind those words that allude to the same philosophies as Eastern philosophy of Brahman and Atman, and realizing that you are the Father and the Son. And I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to try and get too much into it. But there are similar viewpoints in Western mysticism as well.
Oh, Alan Watts pointed out that, if Jesus had run through the streets of India saying like, "I am God," everyone would have said, "Yeah, yeah, we know."
That's funny. That's good.
And so I think there's all kinds of connections with this. But one of the things I do, particularly in the first part of the book, is I focus so much on the thinking mind and how the thinking mind creates division and categories. And it's very difficult, if not impossible, to think without thinking in categories and separation and division. So naturally, there were these shamans who were showing us that all of this is an interconnected process. But at the same time, the thinking mind kept saying, no, this is separate. And so all the religions sort of, focused on different things, and thinking minds had turned them into things that seem very separate from one another.
Mm,
Once you kind of practice not thinking and getting in and digging that kind of process mode of consciousness, then it's very easy to go through the religions and to go, oh yeah, this is all the same stuff.
yeah. Yeah. It's they're all hints, like you said. It's all just like pointing you in the direction. And I find it interesting that that's all really you can do. You can't, there's no words that can really or concepts or symbols that can really, you can't like see something and be like, oh yes, it has to be like experiential. Like you said, it has to be something that you feel individually, subjectively in your heart or your soul, whatever you want to say. But it's something that we all come to on our own accord.